You're on your phone. You are on social media. Just like everyone else you know. In fact, it's probably how you found this video in the first place. Still, in this video, I will show you how dangerous social media platforms can actually be. Do you know that feeling when you're just a little bit bored and immediately feel like opening Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok or Twitter? Or falling down the Instagram rabbit hole and before you know it, you're on your high school friend, cousin's pet cat's fan page? Well, according to research, it might actually be down to neuroplasticity that's to blame for this. But what is Sorry. It's just someone liking my Instagram post out. So, what is neuroplasticity and how is social media affecting our lives and our brains? Researchers and doctors have warned us that while social media can be a lot of fun and have some benefits, it can also be seriously harmful to both our physical and mental health. So in this video, we'll go over exactly how social media affects your brain from a biological and scientific standpoint. We will examine the tactics that big tech use to get us hooked on their platform. We will also examine how you can protect yourself from the worst sides of social media while still having lots of fun with it. And finally, how you can use social media for your own benefit.
Many people feel addicted to their devices.
I am so ridiculously addicted to my phone.
60% admitted they could be addicted to their cell phone.
We are increasingly glued to our phones.
Hands up if you think that you spend too much time with your smartphone.
People here are looking at their phones every 12 minutes.
Phone addictions can have serious consequences for mental health.
With my smartphone in hand, I bring my work with me everywhere.
It's getting worse. The CBC's Katie Simpson reports.
On the 4th of February 2004, Mark Zuckerberg launched the Facebook. Located at thefacebook.com. It was a social media restricted to the students of Harvard College, and within just 1 month, more than half of all undergraduates had registered for an account. Skip ahead 6 years, and in July 2010, the company had accumulated a user base of 500 million people, or about the population of the US, UK, France and Italy combined. Sooner than later, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat and TikTok popped out of nowhere, and in total, these apps combined have a user base of over 3.9 billion people. But how did they get to this number, and what is so special about social media? The most universal symptom of social media abuse is by far what scientists call the implicated brain reward circuit, which sounds complicated but it really isn't. You see, in our brains there is a region called the ventral tegmental area, or the VTA for short. It's responsible for rewarding us every time we do anything pleasurable or productive. The VTA does that by releasing the feel-good hormone dopamine. So when we receive positive feedback in the forms of likes, retweets and positive comments, our brain fire dopamine receptors, which is partially facilitated by this VTA, and it makes us feel great. But what happens to our human dopamine system once we are immersed in the positive feedback loop of constant novelty, likes, upvotes and comments online? Well, our brains get drowned in dopamine, and it feels exciting, but it also depletes our dopamine reserves and raises our dopamine tolerance. Or said simply, everything else becomes less pleasurable and we are less motivated to do it. Once you've had a 3-hour TikTok binge, it's going to be much less enjoyable for you to do something actually productive like reading a book or practicing new skills. And on top of that cycle of trigger and reward is the basic principle that builds habit and addiction. Researchers have shown time and time again that social media apps can trigger and amplify our feelings of envy and loneliness. Even worse, they can distort your own self-image and make you feel inferior to others. Remember that dreading feeling when you just posted something and you get no response at all, no likes, no share, no comment, and no retweet? Well, it turns out that's no accident. It's part of the design of any social media platform. Low self-esteem is more common today than ever before among adults, teens, and children alike. Everyone is feeling the pressure and the desire to fit in with their peers or make a good first impression at work or at school. A 2012 study from the Center of Eating Disorder found that over 30% of Facebook users feel sad when they compare themselves to photos of their friends on the platform. The beautiful image of a married couple on vacation can easily trigger feelings of envy and stop you from appreciating where you are right now with your spouse, and forget the small pleasures in your own life. Social media is killing our ability to focus and learn. Lady Greenfield, a professor at Lincoln College, Oxford, explains how social media is putting attention spans at risk. Children's experiences with social media are devoid of cohesive narrative and long-term significance. As a consequence, the mid-21st century mind might almost be defined by short attention spans, sensationalism, inability to emphasize, and a shaky sense of identity. But not only does it reduce our attention spans, research also shows that heavy social media use is linked with memory issues, especially in your transactive memory. This kind of memory involves deciding what information is important enough to store in your brain and what information can be outsourced. Social media's central feature, the sharing and storing of your experiences, may actually be altering which memories you keep and which ones you don't. In one study, the participants were asked to record an event like New Year's Eve celebrations using their mobile phones, and other groups were asked to simply experience the event without recording it. At the end of the study, those who were recording and sharing the event performed far worse and showed more of a memory loss than those who experienced the event without recording it. So if you recently have been struggling with remembering things, it might be time to cut down on social media. Hey, I'm just saying. Remember how we said that social media connects you to everyone? Well, this is actually only half right. In the field of sociology, there are two distinctive terms to describe human relationships. There are weak social ties and there are strong social ties. And while social media is great for weak ties, studies have shown that it's actually hurting our abilities to build and maintain strong ones. And finally, one crucial element of life that social media can disrupt is the quality of our sleep. A recent study involving almost 12,000 adults found that overall, heavier social media use was associated with poorer sleep patterns. All social media apps are designed to be habit forming. The goal is to make you stay as long as possible and to always come back for more, so they can show you more ads and more ads. Neria, the author of Hooked, How to Build Habit-Forming Products, divides the process big tech use into 4 steps, and I want you to pay special attention in this part because it's going to become the foundation of how you can use social media for your own benefit. So in order for social media to engage with you, first, it needs to get you to open it. And this is what those annoying notifications and red app dots next to the app icons are for. A simple trigger to make you open the app and look at your notifications. And over time, those external triggers can become internal triggers. So if every time you feel a little bit bored and you open Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, you will literally program yourself to do this every single time you have this feeling. Meaning over time, you've programmed your mind to resort to social media the second you start to feel boredom creeping in. One way I combat this is to completely turn off notifications. So after the trigger comes the action, or should we say the reaction. And once the trigger action sequence is repeated a few hundred times, it becomes automatic. It becomes a no-brainer. A great way to counter this step is to place a few barriers between you and the action. And this can be by always logging out of your accounts so that you are forced to log in the time that you want to use social media, or forcing yourself to use the web browser instead of the app. These extra steps increase friction and weaken the habit circuit in your brain, making the action off-putting and over time giving you the discipline to fight social media addiction. Now, this is where true addiction is manufactured. So once you've taken the action, you get a reward. So it feels good, and the dopamine surge strengthens the trigger action reward connection in your brain. But what do you think the social media reward is? Is it a cute photo, a funny meme? Well, actually, it's the novelty, or in other words, the thrill of freshness. It's the excitement of finding out what will be on your feed. Sometimes it's a great post that you like, and sometimes it's something boring. But exactly this uncertainty is what creates the thrill that gets people addicted to social media. The social media giants know this and are using the same tactics as Las Vegas casinos to give their users the gambler's high of wins and losses. So once a real addiction is formed, the person will start craving the reward every time when he's triggered. Finally, in the long term, we'd have invested so much into our social media accounts that the big tech giants make us believe that their products are a big part of our own identity. It's why so many people struggle with addictions, because over the long term, it becomes part of your identity. So by using these 4 steps, they influence our thoughts, habits, and behaviors. But while it can be harmful when we don't understand what is happening, now that you know exactly how social media works, you can turn the tables and instead use its power for your own advantage. Here are 3 things that have worked for me to make sure that social media apps work for me rather than against me. Number 1, it's to unfollow everything and everyone that you don't need. This might take a few days, but every time you see a post from these millionaire influencers who have the most perfect six-pack abs, who seem to be traveling around the world on a weekly basis, change outfits 3-4 times a day, and are living a perfect lifestyle, it can distort your perception of reality. Every page that you follow is a vote for who you want to become. Connect with high-value people who can help you achieve your goals. Whatever it is you want more in life, it can be more money, friends, mindfulness, or health. I can guarantee you, you will find a community for it online. I genuinely believe that every single one of us has some unique talents, and by sharing your talents on social media, you can build a great personal brand and connect with potential clients or potential future employers. So enjoy the amazing opportunity to be on the internet. Just make sure you use it well and don't let it use you. That's all for today, friends. This actually is my first ever video on YouTube, so please like, share this video if you found this beneficial, and subscribe to my channel. Stay sharp, and I'll catch you in the next one.